I'm a game artist, and in this video I thought it'd be fun to let a machine decide what I was going to make. To give myself an extra challenge, each time I would only have 5 minutes to come up with a concept for my next design and only 1 hour to make each model. Will that have been a terrible mistake? Only one way to find out. Here's how this is going to work. First, I'll click the Go button, and then the machine will randomize a bunch of different suggestions in these fields. And when it's done, we're going to try to design that suggestion. What's interesting about the Epic Design Idea Generator is that it's actually fueled by your comments. I invented a time machine and went all the way back to September of 2020 when my first Blockbench tutorial series released. And by this point I picked over 100 different suggestions. Currently, it can generate over 28 billion specific combinations, and that number increases drastically the more comments we add. After I was done programming the generator, I actually thought maybe how specific it was going to make it too easy. I can tell you already that was not the case. So let me now show you how specific and silly this is going to be. Time themed, okay. Hospital. Dressed humanoid. Vanilla Minecraft style. It is slender. Toilet paper. Purple, okay. Why toilet paper? Alright, 5 minutes on the clock, starting now. So, my mind was instantly drawn towards the Minecraft Enderman because it's purple, and it kind of makes sense that it's also vanilla Minecraft themed. That saved me some time. And then I started thinking, time, how do I convey that? And the solution I came up with was distress. Alright, time's up. Now, we have an hour in Blockbench, and we're gonna try to spend that as good as we can. So, of course, I'm building the Enderman from the base up, and then adding details to it that I think would be suited for a doctor. That's how I'm gonna get the hospital theme into this. So I spent most part of my first 20 minutes just figuring out the overall design and layout, and a lot of this entire design comes down to the execution of the actual presentation of the scene that this Enderman is going to be part of, because that's the way I'm going to make sure that you can tell time is a theme in this design. And I'm fairly certain some of you have already figured out where this is going. We have a door, we have a lock that I'm building here, we have an Enderman, and we have a toilet roll. A goal with this video is to try to show you how to be creative outside of the box. With the Enderman, I would say time is the biggest challenge to come up with an idea for. Now, you could be very specific and add like a watch on the arm or something like that, but it is also interesting to approach it more as an overall dramatic theme that adds something to the model. And something that really adds to your model is the texturing. This is where most people actually get stuck, and I get comments about this on a very regular basis. According to the algorithm and the research on YouTube, most people just want to watch the modeling phase, but the truth is, most of your character and creatures and designs will actually come to life through the texturing. And the texture is one of our biggest elements of the model. As you can tell even by looking at the timer, I'm actually spending a lot more time making the texture, which is also why it would be really weird if I just skipped ahead and didn't show you that part of the production. And now I had about 4 minutes left on the clock, and I hadn't even started painting the walls, and that's when I realized what kind of challenge I've just put myself under. And time's up! And speaking about time, did you know that only 11% of you people watching are actually subscribed to the channel? It takes 2 seconds to subscribe, see? You just click and it's that easy. And here we have it, Toilet Trouble Dr. Enderman. I feel sorry for this guy. And that's model 1 out of the way. Let's make another one, reset the machine, and see what we get next. Shadow. 2D side scroller. Creature and vehicle. Invincible. Exhausts. A famous YouTuber, and the color is orange. Okay. Let's put another 5 minutes on the clock, and concept starts. The perfect YouTuber for this is actually Annoying Orange, and I'm gonna combine Annoying Orange with a vehicle, and that is going to become an Annoying Orange vehicle, which is a character beast creature thingamajigger, and I already have regrets about it. Alright, time's up, and that's all time I had for sketching. Now 60 minutes on the clock, let's move into Blockbench. What's really different about a 2D side-scrolling game is that the characters are flat. So what the model is going to be is just a bunch of flat cubes that we then paint all of the different parts on. And if we have time enough for it, I will also make sure to animate this so you can actually see it moving. Okay, now some of you may be asking, but how are you intending to use Invincible in this design? And that is why I picked Annoying Orange. What's annoying about the orange is that it never dies. It just sits there in the kitchen annoying everything else. So, in a sense, Annoying Orange is already invincible. You can call me lazy for that, I think it's a legit solution. Now, I'm just looking at my reference and I see that the different parts we have are like wheelhouses, wheels, the main body, and exhaust. And behind the exhaust I also want to have some smoke clouds, I'm going to be animating those later if we have time. And all different parts of the body are placed on their own different planes so I can animate them later. The mouth is really uncanny, I'm not sure that I like how those teeth came out, but all in all, yeah, no, I just have a lot of regrets. And that's fine, that's part of the process, but now we have around around 20 minutes left, and I think this is the perfect time to start on some animations because the overall aesthetic is done. So now it's really just about bringing this guy to life, and this was a fun process. Really weird to make a 2D character in a 3D software, but overall I really enjoy the process. And my favorite detail is this like smoke trailing out on the end of the car. You see how that came together? Wait, what about shadow? I am not proud of this detail, I am not proud of my solution to shadow, but I am literally just gonna give an orange eyeshadow, or in this case even eyeliner. It's like I don't even know what shadow is at this point. I am kind of stressed out, and still I have so much time left I could probably make something better, but that's where we are. And I have 7 minutes left on the clock, which I guess is just enough time to talk about the ArtsByKev Patreon Club, and you can join the club today. Link in the description. Alright, time's up! And I present to you the orange YouTube car creature. I hate it, but luckily that doesn't stop us from regenerating and going fresh with a new design, which is going to be tabletop, fruit, character with a weapon, cooking tools, a features a Minecraft mob, and frills. Right. Oh, a free color pick. That's cool. 5 minutes on the clock, let's get started. I am imagining that this is a tabletop character on a tabletop plate, and we're going to go for a banana. I know it's not a fruit, but I want to do a banana. And it's pretty straightforward. I can focus on the frills and the details of this character, and I think it's going to be a pretty fun little project, actually. Alright, time's up, and let's start the 60-minute timer and get going in Blockbench. I'm gonna start by building this base plate. I think that's where we need to start from, so we get a scale, sort of an idea of how big this is gonna be, and then building the body of the banana. I'm gonna be bending blocks, left, right, and center, add a piece of the banana peel that we then will be flipping around the body in order to create the overall sense of this banana. Now, in this case, I use a trick of mine, which is to only build parts of the body and then flip them over when I've made the texture. That way I save texture space, and I also don't have to paint all the things twice. And speaking about board game characters, over on the ArtsByKev channel, I have started working on a series where I'm taking a board game I've made many years ago and then turning that into a PC game. It is also where you'll find most of my new tutorials and even a Blockbench series made completely for kids. And with 40 minutes left on the clock, it's time to move over to the texturing. This is going to be fairly straightforward. Most of the banana is yellow, but there will be two different colors of yellow that I'll use across this design, one for the banana peel and one for the inside where the banana is. And this is how I'm going to cover the Minecraft mob, by simply adding a creepy shirt, because this is obviously a Minecraft fan. It's also a very nice frill to the overall design, because to be honest, a banana really doesn't need to have a hoodie underneath its already existing peel. But I have to admit, it is a very appealing detail. Then I'm adding these knives on the side, so it's actually equipped, and as you may notice, the frills I've decided to add are gamer details, because I think that it really kind of works with this design. Green is a nice contrast to the yellow. And I have to admit, when I started working on this model, I thought it was going to turn out really silly, and the more I look at it, the more I like it. I think this is actually my favorite one of the ones I've made so far, simply because it feels like it's actually finished. And time's up! And there we have it! Our own tabletop game Banana Rogue. I think it's fantastic. Alright, let's wrap up with one final model. Let's see what it's gonna be. Wait, what's happening? What? What's this? I didn't make this. With the storm. Mutation. Elemental spirit. Made of metal. Runes. And it's the ultimate form? And the main color is cyan. Wait, what? So, okay, 5 minutes, sure. But the thing is, this is a boss model. A boss usually takes several hours, if not days, to make. And I don't want to get off on a bad foot with whatever requested this model to be made. So, what I'm going to do is to just skip the 1 hour rule and make sure that I spend as much time as I need, draw from this concept, and just try to make the coolest model I can. And time's up. Alright, let's get started. Wither storms. I mean, I think I have a fairly good idea of what I want this to look like, and to get there, first I'm gonna try out making a tentacle. I have this idea about the mutation actually being the wither kind of taking over this cyan steel construct, and as I was testing that out, I realized I don't want this to be like an infection. This should be a mutation. It's like the wither storm turned into its most refined version of itself, a catalyst of just pure wither storm energy, I suppose. So I scrapped that idea and went with something else. My new idea was going to circle around the idea that the wither storm had had been confined, and it's grown to a world killer size, where I imagine that the Witherstorm itself is just like a mega energy core of pure wither destruction energy. So I first set out to design the armor that's going to be around this energy core, but I still felt it was cool to have actual Witherstorm heads on the body. And on those I could also have the eyes that allows the Wither to see through the dimensions. The eyes are probably the most important feature of the Witherstorm design itself, but sometimes one of your ideas may come back to bite you, and this is one of those examples. I thought it was going to be cool to just have really long tentacles on this body, and let me tell you, they are not fun to animate. Tentacles are pretty fun because the way they work is that you have several parts, and those parts then bend individually, and they also bend with a delay from the previous part that bends in order to look natural. Yeah. Let's not delve on that. Instead, let's laugh at the fact I also decided to have necks that were tentacles. Why do I do this to myself? I mean, seriously. Okay, as I'm doing this, I thought that it was going to be cool to take some references from the Star Wars Death Stars by adding these energy collection and expulsion discs. And by the end of this video, you will also see me adding some extra visual effects to really enhance the overall aesthetic of them. So at the center, I am placing a light source, which effectively is going to represent some kind of energy, and then also following up adding more of those light sources on the sides. Now, as you know, the Death Star has one disc. I'm gonna have several. Yes, they're gonna cover the entire upper area, and there's also going to be one below this big unit. The main reason to why there are several above is, if you think about the Witherstorm's actual design, it grows on top as it's accumulating power, so I wanted to make sure that we can showcase that. Next, I'm making sides to this design, but I didn't really think that these turned out the way I wanted to, so it was just one of those tests that I then took away and decided to go for a different direction instead. I was gonna add shields around the body. Yes, big gigantic sheet metals of shields that would then partially hold tentacles if they were located on the upper body, and on the lower end of the body I would actually have these shields as well, spinning around. And as you may notice, the overall color is quite cyan gray. It's mostly towards the green aspect, and I'm going to go in and change this afterwards, because right now I'm mostly just trying to figure out what is the overall lay of the land. Like, what's the design? What are the plates? Where are they located? What are the lights? Where are the shadows? And then when I'm done with that, I go in and I adjust the textures like you see here, and fine-tune all the colors to get them to what I would like them to be. Nah, too gray. And there we are. I have a more cyan prominent color. I'm painting in these runes that are part of the final model design, and the final part now is to animate this model. As you can tell, it's getting along pretty well, but is this an undertaking that I probably never want to do anytime soon again? And I can't remember if the generator has tentacles in one of the prompts. But ultimately, there is this one final thing I want to add, and that is the tractor beam visual, which we do with a gradient, and there we have it. But we all know I cheated with the Witherstorm, so which was your favorite of the ones I actually made on time? And there we are, the ultimate mecha Witherstorm. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and check out one of my other modeling videos where I make your Minecraft ideas.